Welcome to Guided Spirit Conversations. I'm your host, Marla Goldberrg. This podcast has been created with you in mind to acquaint you with some of the most incredible metaphysicians and spiritual leaders from around the globe who have helped others change their lives. In this interactive hour, you will be offered insights and techniques to help you make a difference in your life. Don't forget to subscribe to the show on your favorite listening platform. And here we go, on to the show.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Guided Spirit Conversations. I am Beth Lynch, your host today, filling in for Marla. She is recovering from a fall, so let's all, while we're going through this, think of her and send her some healing light and healing energy. A little bit about myself, again, your host today, but also I am a spiritual medium, intuitive teacher. I like to sum it up an educator of heart, mind, body, and spirit. I think it sums up a lot. I am also an author. I have a new book, and it's probably not new, but it's new to this show right now, and it's called Life, Death, and In Between. So go over onto my website, check out more about me, my services, classes, and my books over to innerlightteaching.com. And thank you all for being here. So I'm really honored to be here for Marla. First of all, we have met along the journey of healing and, light and learning about and our own personal journeys. And then we both are graduates of Delphi University for Spiritual Studies, and you can find out more about that, I'm sure. And also we're friends, so it's really an honor, and I'm filling some big shoes. So thank you for your patience and energy that you send my way. I do want to introduce a very special guest, Shelia Applegate, and she is a kind of like I summed it up a little. Sheila, welcome to the show. Life coach, intuitive, meditation teacher, counselor. You're going to add more to your to that, but a little something that Sheila doesn't know is that we're from the same area. I'm from Geneva.
Oh my goodness!
So when our assistant said Lafayette, I'm like, I know where
You
that
knew that.
Yeah. So, and I thought there was some just interesting things about our journey running very parallel, as well, probably personally and professionally more than we know. So it is a pleasure to meet you, and, welcome to the show. And I'm just going to read your bio for everybody. And then I'm going to, let you tell us more about things that, you and interesting things that you've shared. I've read some things about you. For over 29 years, I'm just going to read this. I think it's the best way. Have lent an ear to that elusive voice within. I absolutely love that. Trusted by leaders and across in her industry, she wields the gift of intuitive coaching to answer our unspoken wishes. You are from upstate New York. Sheila dwells on the crossroads of modernity and ancestral memory, with one foot in contemporary needs and the other in the past's wisdom. She will unveil the unseen world that shapes our lives today, helping people illuminate paths, bridging the gap to destiny of outstretched hand. You really offer from your heart. You can feel it in your, probably shouldn't even read the bio. You can feel what you're offering, to people, that guide, sometimes that mystery that people are afraid to maybe open and look into, because we know as, healers and teachers, it's something we have to go through ourselves that brings us to a platform to say, okay, I want to help others. So, with that being said, I'd like you to say anything more about yourself right now, but let's maybe something that I think a lot of people want to know. How did you discover, that ability to really tap into that place? And then we can go on to how you got to where you are today.
You know what? I have really come to claim and understand that I was born with a lot of connection to spirit that I think we all are. I didn't ever let go of that. And there was just this innate ability within me to connect to the divine and to see the truth in all situations. So I wasn't raised to communicate with spirit. I remember when I was younger, my mom said something about our neighbor who was nice to the mice in her garage because she believed in this thing called reincarnation. And I was like, she thought that the mouse might be her dead uncle. And I remember thinking, well, I don't know that the mouse is her dead uncle, but yeah, having other lives makes sense to me. So there was just this sort of knowing inside of me and this drive to work with people and to learn more about different religions and put them together to understand how we're all the same.
That's beautiful. And I like, how you're sharing about, the different religions. One of the biggest challenges in our species is the separation. We're still separating, and when you open to this, you see that those walls are just like, almost like the metaphor I feel right now is just like little gates that will go down and walk you into the understanding of it all. And it's, it's helpful for people in life. I think you move through a lot of anger. What would you share on this? This is an interesting feeling I'm getting right now for your opinion, your spiritual wisdom, the anger that we see that people. What is your view on that with people struggling in anger?
With anger right now, like in society?
Mm-hmm.
So as a society and humanity, I feel like we're in a time of great transition, and it's very chaotic, but it's beautiful because it's sort of that everything that's been buried emotionally and literally in our earth is rising up to be seen. So if we think of it in our body, it's as if we have an infection that was just simmering in our body, and then it starts to come up and out with whatever bodily fluid you want to think of.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's coming up. And anger is part of the process of moving through the layers of grief. And we are really grieving how humanity has been living. So Daphne Rose Kingma once said to me that grief is, or that anger transformed as passion. And so when we don't tap into that anger, we're subduing some of our passion and our movement. So there is a lot of anger right now, but I see it in the collective as part of our healing process.
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. And then, when you speak of anger, how can you avoid fear, that emotion? And you wonder, it starts before, and if you don't do something about it, it can get bigger,
Mm-hmm.
And then debilitating for some, when you said about the body and the rising up, there's the connection between mind, body, and heart, mind, body, and spirit. The body is affected, and the physical manifestation on our planet is exactly how you put it. It's the secrets are coming out.
Right.
It can no longer lay dormant. The old way isn't working.
Right.
One of these things I experienced once in one of my meditative reflections was this was probably, this is right after 9/11 that I actually posed the question, why are we where we are in this as a species? And look how long ago that was. And I heard come back very clearly, you have evolved as a species technically, but not spiritually. You are now in the consequence of that. Interesting. The next thought was this that came. It is not a punishment. It's a consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think I've ever asked why since that day about anything. I just look at the evolution. And as because you say the word divine, and, some people they think, well, that's religion right away. No, it's a vibration. It's an expansion of consciousness. It's a freedom. And yeah, maybe talk a little bit more on divine, because I just love that word. I love the energy of the word, I should say.
Right. Yeah, I actually do love it as a vibration in itself. And for me, on my journey, we spoke about how early on I was working to understand how all of the religions are a path to the same truth. And so in my work, in trying to welcome people who may either have a negative reaction to a certain word or so much attachment to a word that they aren't able to see a bigger picture. So to be more inclusive, I use words such as divine, which can then be translated by the individual person and soul to their understanding of what that means. Because there is a force that is a part of all of us.
And it's the untapping of it that it is the unevolving. You can't evolve any further. I was teaching a class once, and it was going to be a healing class all day long. And this lady called last minute and said, "Can I bring my friend?" And I said, "Absolutely." So she came in, and I started talking. And in my class, I say, we're going to talk the divine. And this is in the first 3 minutes. And she looked and she goes, she raised her hand. I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "I have a problem with that word." I go, "What word?" And she goes, "Divine." And I go, "Oh, girl, then you're going to have a problem." And I laughed and I said, "It's not going to be a problem. What it's doing is making you a little uncomfortable. You're getting a little anxious." And she goes, "Yes." And I go, "It's vibration. You're already going up." You know what? She was the person that day in that class that all of us jaw dropped throughout the experiences that we had, because she was moving through and hitting that energy.
Mm-hmm.
It was almost like Spirit said, "All right, girlfriend, we're taking you quick because you're not going to let her get stuck in the foxhole."
Right.
And it
Right.
was,
Oh, that's
I think
beautiful.
all of us, I think it was 8 of us, she was like our star that day, like the light star, not the ego star.
Right.
Beautiful. So it was so funny, like words can trigger,
Mm-hmm.
that frequency triggered her, but boy, what a day, it was just such a special day. Um, What do you feel about this? Because I thought it was so intriguing when I heard you were from the area. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that I was from the Finger Lakes. But, like, don't you find it kind of interesting what evolves from there? I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like one of these questions here. Like, there's so many beautifully spiritually awakening teachers and stuff from the area of upstate New York.
Right. I always sort of giggle to myself because I went to Maryland, the University of Maryland, for my master's degree. And I returned back to this area because my then boyfriend was here. And I thought, I don't want to go back there. There's nothing spiritual there, which I walked back into this land in such a different way. My first job out of my master's degree, the first time in supervision, my supervisor told me about a metaphysical Christian church that was offering meditations. And so I started studying there. And then I went on to work, because at that point I was in social work, a clinical child and family therapist, and I worked with both the Onondaga and the Oneida Nations. And so, everything just unfolded. And now I am so aware of the vortex of energy that we have here in this area. And at the same time, I want everyone to know, but I don't want it to be turned into one of the places that might be a little overdone. So I know the snow keeps people away. So I just keep reminding people we have a lot of snow. But we have the beginning of the women's rights movement. Harriet Tubman ended up living here. I live in a home which was part of the Underground Railroad. Our democracy is based on the Haudenosaunee, which are the indigenous people of this land. We had a friend here from Argentina last week, and we were driving to see one of the waterfalls, because there's so many beautiful falls and lakes here. And he mentioned something about the Wizard of Oz. And I was like, oh, guess what? That was written by an author right in this town we're going to. So we took him to the yellow brick road, and he was just in awe. And every day it seems like I'm understanding even now more how powerful this land is, and how much it's influenced people like you and me. The spiritualist movement started here in Lilydale too in the 1800s. Like, it's insane at how much energy is here in this land.
The Fox sisters, right?
Yeah.
Geez, Richard Gere's from Syracuse. We know
Right.
he's
You
really
name so many.
aware.
Yeah. The Baldwin brothers. There's so many people, even in Hollywood, that came
Oh
from
yeah,
this
the Baldwin
area.
brothers. I forgot
Yeah.
about them. Yeah, yeah. Interesting. That's interesting. Um, you speak of the ancestors, and where do you feel, and how do you tie that in, like, to your, to people you're helping, to your coaching, like, because it very is, it's our soul level of
Mhm.
connection, right? I mean, how do you, I just find that so interesting, your opinion.
Yeah, my heart is so connected to, like we just talked about, this land and the people who were here originally. And I have become like I said, I did start out working in each of the territories nearby, but I've also have many of my dear friends, and my twin flame was of the Haudenosaunee. So I have a deep connection to the ancient teachings, really, of all Indigenous people, because they are so rich and important. And yet we are evolving as people. So it's a balance between the ancient wisdom and the evolving consciousness. And it's really important, I believe, to honor both of those. And I look at sort of moving into that traditional energy in whatever land you're in or wherever you're drawn to as kind of the way I don't want to insult it's not the people or the stories, but when we look at how children are born and they have this inner truth, this innate knowing, and they're so wise before they get programmed in other ways. I think that ancient knowledge is in that same category. It was brought through before science, and yet there is a lot of science that can harmonize with it now. So we're not limited to the past. It's that union between the past and the evolving consciousness that is so profound.
Wow, that's powerful. What do you feel? I know there was a little mention about how your family's ability to connect beyond the physical helped you with your mom's passing. I know my mom's passing was a very big part of my journey going boof, and the healing
Mm-hmm.
journey. And that was 30 years ago. And so I'm interested that you could share that with us.
Well, yeah. So actually, both of my parents, my father had Alzheimer's and my mother had frontal lobe dementia. So we watched both of our parents decline in their mental status throughout many years. Um, but the truth of who they were remained solid. They're pure love. They never forgot us. They knew who we were, and their love just got bigger, sort of in that way that I talked in that childlike way. My dad died just before COVID, and then COVID hit, and my mom was in a nursing home at that point, unable to speak verbally. And so it was really difficult because the nursing homes were shut down, and we could um, we could talk to her through a window, but she didn't understand. And we could do video calls, but it was very hard for her to process that. And because she couldn't verbalize, it was hard for us on Earth to know. But whether she was understanding what we were saying. But using our abilities, the meditative abilities, the connection on the higher levels allowed us to continue that communication with her. In fact, the last day I saw her in the physical world before COVID, she came to my house and we had a beautiful lunch and giggled. And then as I was driving her home, I had a conversation with her. She always called it meditation. She called it meditating if she was communicating with others. So I was able to talk to her about how we communicate when we're not together through meditation. And she could give me enough cues that, to affirm that she completely knew what I was talking about. And within days after that conversation, it was shut down and we had no more conversation here. So she ended up in the hospital alone, without any of us, and died in that way. But my sisters and I were able to be in meditation when she died, the moment she crossed over. So where with my dad, we were by his side in the physical world, kind of ushering him over. And with my mom, we were in the spirit world, welcoming her to that side.
Uh,
And it was really profound and beautiful.
that sharing that, because there's so many families that lost their loved ones in that way, and the grief is just, it's like a PTSD.
It really is. Even with the beauty of it, there's still
Yeah,
that piece.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you for sharing that, because that's very personal, obviously, but it can help so many others yet to, maybe lose family members, actually kind of believe that if you're sitting home, and you can't be with them, or, transition is happening, just have meditative moments, send your thoughts, the energy
Right.
travels, and I know, that anyone in spirit, the first opportunity they get, they'll show you that was me.
Right.
It does help grief, and they do. I mean, when you sit in sessions, you see these almost miracle moments that someone didn't even realize, their loved one could be there. I know with my son, he moved a few states away, and that was a little hard for Mama Bear. But I bought us all a bracelet, me, my husband, and him. And I said, and I told him, because, he's going on his new journey in his 20s and all that. And I said, just touch the bracelet and, send a thought if you're sad, or, you just feel you want to, and, we can't talk every minute of the day or whatever. And he goes, it's so funny, because sometimes I'll just rub it and think of him, and within moments I get a text, "Hi, Mom, thinking of you." It's like, I want to freak out and go, "Oh my God." So we should get excited still. 30 years, I
Right.
but it's still exciting. So, do those little things, everyone listening, that could help you be with your loved one, in spirit on earth, and in these moments when you're not together. And keep that in mind, because I think it's a beautiful thing. What do you feel, your tips, like tips of living, like everyday life, like where do you like to share how do you share that with people? Like what little thing can they do? Like I just kind of threw that out there. But like, what do you do? Because you work with a lot of people personally in groups. So I'm interested in what you could share with the audience.
I think the very first thing that I like people to remember is how powerful imagination is. And wonder is a really powerful thing. Joy, I'm a part of a Joy Keepers network, a leader in that network that's global. So all those things are essential, but imagination is the key to all these connections, right? Imagination precedes everything that we do. We can't get out of bed without visualizing that we are standing up. That's how our brain works. If I were to say to everyone, walk away from this show and go to your car and get me something out of your glove compartment, in the amount of time I just said that, even though you were thinking she doesn't really want me to do that, you were also thinking about where your car was. You had a flash of that. You had a flash of what might be in your glove compartment. And that's how you act. That's how you move throughout your day. But somehow we set that aside when it comes to divine communication or spirituality, and we think, oh, how do I know that's not just my imagination? And so people try to cut that piece out, and then they get stuck, because we actually don't do anything without imagination. So let imagination be part of your journey, and who cares if it's true or not? It will prove itself when you allow that door to open.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, because if it's an image, we can visualize. Don't you? It can manifest, or give you the message you need if it's not supposed to manifest, right? If it isn't for your higher good, recognize. How do you share? Yeah, let's go there a minute. People wonder a lot, like, how do I know? Like, if I give guidance, and okay, open to your higher good. Don't worry about when, where, why, and how right now in this moment. Just put out the intention. Trust what you feel and see, or just know. Go there. So, like, when you get someone who is, well, probably most people that come to you are ready. Don't you think being ready is a big part of it too? Like they're ready to surrender and
At
open.
this point in my career, yeah, but I certainly work with other people, or have talked to other people.
So how do you help them? How do you get them to move past that?
And even as we said that, I want to just clarify. I think that I know even me, with more evidence than probably most people in the world, I can doubt at times. Like, that's just our nature, and that's okay. So, I don't want to say that if you're struggling with this, that you are just at the beginning, but I think that what a lot of people do is they get hung up with trusting themselves, and that idea of, how do I know if it's my intuition or my fear? And what you just said is really powerful. Like, surrender to your highest good. We have in the fractal illumination, that energy that we do, which I can talk about later if it comes up, but we talk about 5 kind of assumptions to make. And the first one is assume that the universe or God or whatever word you want to use is conspiring on your behalf. And if we go through our day with that in mind, instead of feeling like we're alone trying to figure this out, or like there's some villain out there trying to mess us up and we have to discern which is right or wrong, that sort of angel and devil on our shoulder can get us really stagnant, which might be what it was there for in the first place. But so if we just assume that the universe is on our behalf, then we can just take those steps. And if something really doesn't feel just wait, but go ahead and practice and play with your intuition like a child.
Yeah, I love that. And practice and play. But so many people say, well, I work on it. I'm trying. I'm going to work on it. I'm like, no, devote to it.
Yeah.
It's play. Keep it simple. The simplicity, just like a child who says, oh, there's Papa. And they're like, how do they know Papa? You know what I mean? You didn't know Papa? No, don't say that. Call us. Well,
right.
They feel the energy. So they say it. They're not sitting there wondering who is Papa, oh, I'm not supposed to see him. I don't, so yeah, it kind of leads us into that trust of things will come the way and manifest, show you more than you know. And the difference in the feelings. Everybody does. Don't you love when people say, well, I'm not intuitive? Everybody hasn't. I look at intuition as a survival mechanism.
Right. It's in all of
connection to, spirit and the physical, but it's also, your inner radar that says, no, maybe I better not do that. Or no, that just doesn't feel right. Learn to trust that inner dialogue. You want to tap on the inner dialogue issue for a minute? Because I
think we get caught up when it is that lack of trust in self and thinking that everything is a big decision and that little things determine whether we have a good hold on it. So, my partner's always like laughing at me because, maybe I'll get an intuition to go get the umbrella or take it with me and I'll ignore it because I just don't feel like going back in for it, and he's always like, why would you not listen to everything, but we get a lot of information. We do, right? You can't listen to everything. But say I do go back for the umbrella and then it doesn't rain. And someone might then be like, well, then I can't trust my intuition. But there is also a chance that maybe you leave the umbrella in the car and then another time it rains and you have it there. Or those 30, 40 seconds that you went in to get the umbrella, a couple minutes, diverted an accident that never happened. So we can't just analyze by what we see. That's where if we have that default belief, especially with things that aren't harmful to us, aren't risking harm, right? If we have that default belief that we just listen and we trust in something bigger than ourselves, then we aren't beating ourselves up and constantly putting ourselves into that question. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. What was it you mentioned a little bit ago that if you would maybe talk on, and then you said if it comes up, I'd love for you, whatever.
Okay. So fractal illumination, I actually have a book coming out, it's out. It's recently out. So we'll talk about that. This is the Energy Oracle, the Energy Healers Oracle, and it's a book with 20 master healers from around the world, each talking about their modality in a chapter. So ours is on fractal illumination, and I say ours because my partner Zach Hansen and I downloaded this energy technique when we first got together 10 years ago, and we've been offering it to groups of people for the 10 years. And in the book, in the chapter, we tell the origin story, and then we give those 4 assumptions that I was just mentioning. So we give you some tips on how to make this journey easier. But fractal illumination is not a healing technique, really. It's about an activation to help us harmonize our DNA, our energy fields with the upgrading energies of Earth. So there's a lot of chaos, like we talked about earlier, because Earth is evolving, and quite literally, there's more sun rays coming into the Earth. That we're exposed to more light. More light is going to help us raise our frequency, but also it, brightens up those shadows, and we start to see those things that were unseen. So fractal illumination just keeps harmonizing. When we started, we thought, oh, everyone just needs one upgrade and then we'll be fine. But the world keeps getting bigger and bigger, and we keep doing them. And so some people come to all of them. Some people have come to one. People can receive it long distance too. We do it in person and on this land, but then also people receive it from around the world when we do it.
Now, is this something you also do on Zoom? How would people?
We tried it a couple times on Zoom during COVID, and it really it lost some of its beauty and its wonder. So what we have been doing since then, since we've been able to be back in person, is all along there were some people who couldn't come live in person, but they just would register anyway, and they would receive the activations in their own space. And so we kind of followed that, and we made videos to help people to receive it from their own space, understand what's going on. So if you register now, you just, create that sacred space for you to receive wherever you are. And then you get the videos, and we include you in the activations. And we've gotten a lot of really positive response for that. So now we're like telling people about that as well, so we can reach more people.
Now, is that on your website? How would someone?
Yes, it is. Right now, it's because we have one on Saturday of this week on August 12th. So it is the banner right at the top of SheilaApplegate.com right now. So
all right, everybody go check that out. Come on now. That sounds good. I'm going to check it out. I know that you do. Would you want to do a little meditation or a little something? We got plenty of time before we got to do some other things. I don't know if you'd like to take us through a few moments. Or,
yeah, sure.
I think it would be awesome.
How much time, just so I can tell my brain?
Let me think. Well, usually in about probably a little less than 10 minutes, we'll just kind of go. I mean,
Okay.
at least I'd say 8 minutes, comfortably, easily 8 to 10.
Okay. Yeah. So along the way, I developed a healing or a meditation technique that I call conscious meditation. And so I'll do like just a little essence of it. It really at the core is guided meditation. There's a couple elements where I help to integrate it into your body rather than kind of leaving your body and then coming back. And then when we have individual sessions with this, you're actually talking during the session. So you're exploring along with it. And we kind of bring in elements of hypnotherapy to help you integrate it so that you can really access it throughout your day. So right now, I'll just do like a little mini version of that. And in doing this, I always tell people, if you are new with guided meditation, just allow it to come alive as if you're reading a novel. People read novels because they can see the characters in their mind. And that is what vision is, especially when you're first starting out. So just allow that to come alive. And again, use your imagination. Don't worry if it's true or not. Just let it come through. So I will just do a little guided meditation for a few minutes. And I always, they just come through me and then I speak them. So it's now drawing in everyone who's listening now and people who will listen later. So those energies get incorporated into what we do. So let's see what we do. All right. If you're comfortable, I ask that you just close your eyes to disconnect from the physical world around you. And then take a couple deep breaths. Imagine that you're breathing in love and exhaling doubt. Breathe in joy and exhale fear. Continue to breathe deeply and rhythmically as you feel your mind and body becoming more and more relaxed. All distracting thoughts float away like puffy white clouds in a bright blue sky. They have no power over you. And as you sit there very relaxed and comfortable, I ask that you begin to see, feel, or sense a beautiful image of a golden rose sun and illuminating white moon above your head. The golden rose of the sun and the white of the moon pours down like liquid color, swirling above your head until every particle is a fusion of the golden rose and silver white light. And then that light pours down in through the top of your head. Imagine it feels like liquid colors just pouring into every cell of your head. Perhaps it's warm or cool. It's being absorbed into your brain like a sponge, just absorbing it all in. It's moving into your ears and your inner hearing that you will always hear the truth. Into your physical eyes and your inner vision that you will see the truth in each moment. And when it reaches your throat, just let it open the energy of your throat so you're free to speak your truth with love and grace and strength in each moment. And as that light washes over your shoulders, it washes away any burdens, outdated beliefs that are no longer serving you. You can feel your shoulders relaxing. And the light continues down your arms and into our hands. And just take a moment to imagine everyone you touch feels this healing vibration of divine love. And imagine that we are holding hands from around the world, but now we are in a beautiful field of grass, holding hands with people that you love and people that you have never met, all joined in this beautiful vibration. And as we feel that light amplifying, as we welcome in beings that are loving and supportive, light continues down into our heart center, where it fills every chamber of our heart, even those places we've kept hidden. And then it continues down just below our heart into our rib cage. Below our rib cage is our solar plexus. This is the emotional center of our body. Just let that light bring into harmony now all of your emotions, that you're free to experience the full vortex of emotions in each moment, from even the most extreme. And the light continues down into the creation center, the midsection of your body. Whether you're male or female in this lifetime, this is your sacred womb where your truest desires are brought forth. Feel the light harmonizing it now. And the light continues down into the hips, the knees, and the soles of the feet. And as you feel it in the soles of your feet, imagine you can feel the tingling vibration between your feet and the floor beneath you. And then the light continues through the soles and out your tailbone, moving down like roots of a tree as it enters into the earth, and then winds together and combines and touches the roots of the trees that create a network throughout our earth, feeling the vibration of connection and union into the fungi who act as a neural network of our earth. So let yourself embrace the feeling of complete connection to Gaia, our Mother Earth, all the way into her core. And now feeling that union from the deep sense of our earth and the sky. Let's bring our attention back to us with our loved ones, with each other, with the light beings of the earth as we dance upon this earth. imagining yourself now dancing wherever on the earth you feel joy. And our joy radiates out like pink bubbles to the places that are hurting, the people who are in pain or suffering, to the land on fire or in distress. But they are bubbles of joy, empowering us as we share. Feel this in every cell of your body. Let your attention move into your body as you notice now that every cell of your body is vibrating with the harmony of heaven and earth, of humanity's love, of divine grace. And just let yourself rest into that place for a moment. Feeling your whole body surrender, relax, and receive this grace. And even as you receive this grace, in every cell of your body, know that simply by receiving, by placing your attention, you are supporting everyone you love and all of Gaia, our Mother Earth. And then knowing you can return to this in any moment, just bring your attention just slightly back to your body as you open your eyes. And as your eyes open, continue to feel the grace, the connection to earth and to the sky, and to all the humanity, the people of the earth. Feel that warmth in your body and know that you can carry it through your day. And we give thanks.
Thank you. That was beautiful.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
divine. And I don't even know. Like, I'm done. That's healing. I mean, there's the intention. You set the sacred. You did it. I mean, like I said, I'm just like la 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 right now. But it's such a relaxed state. Your body's healing. Your immunity's strong, right? I mean, need we go into all the beautiful effects it has? I love. I was right when you started in about most of it. My third eye just pulsed, and I thought, Marla, I deserve that because it works it's personal, but
Yeah,
also in my work every day. So
right.
I just said, "Oh, you just suck that all in, girl," because it was just so beautiful to feel, but to literally feel the pulse. So I don't know. Do you want to maybe explain to people who might have had that feeling somewhere, or I mean, somebody else must have, I'm sure.
Yeah, and I think what you're pointing out is good because a lot of listeners are probably healers in their own right, empaths, people wanting to serve and do good. And we tend to work very hard to give. And sometimes we forget how powerful it is to receive and to just be in that light and that frequency is one of the greatest gifts that we can give Earth because we are Earth. We are all connected. And so when we take the time to rest into those frequencies, we're doing more than we even do most of the time when we're walking around trying to do more, right? So when you fail that, I think, that was your gift, that's your center where you do so much of your work. And to me, when you said it, it was just this like, oh, I get to receive now. I just get to rest. I don't have to work,
Mhm.
I'm sure it's different for everyone. Sometimes maybe it was releasing a block, but the gift to receive is far underrated.
Far underrated. And I couldn't help but get the visual of Avatar, Mother Tree. The
Mhm.
symbolism of that movie is almost like scary. Okay.
Right.
The evolution of consciousness, basically, and how it all goes out. It was just one of the visions I had. And it was just really beautiful to experience. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. And so many people that are watching and will watch in the future are going to be touched by it. Why don't you give a little shout out to your charity of choice for today?
All right. So my dear friend Melina Carnicelli opened this foundation just after 2016 elections, and it's called. She also spearheaded the Women's March in Seneca Falls, which is where the women's movement was birthed. So in that Women's March we did with people around the whole world, if you remember that. We were in Seneca Falls. My daughter spoke at it. But from that birthed this First Amendment First Vote, where they work with teenage girls and maybe even a little bit younger, middle school to high school, I think, to help them see that they can have a potential career in politics, in changing the world or in government, however they want to make their impact. But it's providing a space for young women to experience the possibilities of the impact they can have on the world through the First Amendment. And
Yes. What is the charity name again?
it's called First Amendment First Vote. And if you go to the website, they use a 1. So 1ST amendment, 1ST vote. Yes.
Very important charity, I would say. And
Yes.
this is the future. The young, like you said, the age group you're speaking of is very much the part of where the future of our not only our country, our world, and our consciousness they have to be free to express. And how are they going to be if they're not taught to understand?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, imagine if what you teach, what I teach, what we've evolved to, I'd rather say, was in schools. I mean, really
Right.
a program, a program. And it's possible. I've experienced earth science. Once asked me, a teacher in Rochester, to come and talk on it, because all the kids were doing all the physical senses. And one kid said, well, what about the sixth sense? And he goes, I had no answer. And I guess I had channeled for a friend of his, their loved ones, and they knew the sixth sense and all. So yeah, so he asked me to speak, and I spoke in front of 4 groups of 25 kids. When I tell you, and I led them in a meditation, it was humbling to watch these kids, their eagerness, and wow, and I want to learn more, and they're craving it.
Yeah.
They're craving it. So, thank you for what you do, because you are planting seeds and then some, and showing them how to water it. It's a metaphor I'm seeing right now. We're all helping them learn to water, right?
Yeah.
Anything else that you would like to share? How people can reach you, your book, all that you would like, the audience to know to get a hold of Sheila.
All right. So the best way to reach me is through SheilaApplegate.com. And on there, you will see the fractal illumination. You'll see the book. You'll see my first book, which is a book that has channeled messages from Isis and Magdalene, with my own life experience of integrating that into daily life. I'm all about integration. I have a program, sort of my biggest heart project, the thing that says, okay, I've done what I need to for Earth. If I need to leave, that's okay. Not that I'm planning to, but that is my Consciously Awesome Gnostic Adventure program. And we have one kicking off in just a little over a week. And what that does is it's playful, it's fun, it's an adventure theme, and we learn to navigate all of our different frequencies from oneness to the cells of our body, and really pay attention to a few different frequencies in between, that when we learn how to work with them, we can communicate with our loved ones, with the divine. We can manifest easier. We can strengthen our relationships, and every aspect of our life, we just can walk around accessing our higher consciousness. So that's sort of my heart project.
That's beautiful. And it's kind of like, it made me think of something I feel when I'm doing channeling or something, is the greatest gift I give you is to see you don't need me. That's right. What I say for channeling. Yeah. You have a direct line, you know, and that's what it seems as though you are doing for people, showing them their direct line, their divine energy cord, or whatever words,
Exactly. Yeah. It
um,
was birthed. Yeah, it was birthed because that was my path. I didn't have anyone telling me how to get there, but every time I am doing something, I want to turn around. And so yes, this is if you have these skills, you can access divine and you can go wherever you want with it, and that's your journey to do.
wow, I love what you're doing. I'm excited that we're from the same, ground.
Yeah.
We walked the same ground. We were birthed in the same ground, basically. So it's very cool. And Bridget, you too, because I'm sure you're listening.
I know, it's so
I
cool.
had a beautiful vision of Marla when we were in that meditation. And I
Okay.
even said, "Oh, you're doing healing. We're sending healing to you right now." I swear it was like a little flash moment. She was
Okay.
smiling away. So maybe that means she was happy with our show today.
Nice.
I'm sure she was. Anything that you want to give the listeners, just a little something to send them, share with them, to take with them today, whenever they're watching the show, something they can carry with them.
Well, one thing I like to say is my dad was a clown in the Shrine Circus. My mom was a nursery school teacher, and I was a play therapist. So to me, the most important thing is play. Understand your imagination, play your way to consciousness, not work at it. Like we just are meant to have fun on the journey.
I love that. Everyone take that with you. And your new book, again, I don't think we tapped on that.
Yeah, that is the Energy Healer's Oracle. And you can find that on my website or Amazon. It is already an internationally best-selling #1 book. So.
Well, congratulations on it. That's amazing. I don't know. We still have a couple moments. Do you want to mention something that I overlooked, something I didn't say, something I think I want you to get all that in for yourself. So,
let's see. How many minutes do we have?
we have about 3 to 4.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I do also offer soul connection sessions. So to give a little background, which we did kind of skip over, I was a clinical therapist, and then I was doing child and family therapy when I learned how to communicate with spirit. And so 29 years ago, I left the mainstream world. My last mainstream jobs were for the Haudenosaunee, so there was a little flexibility there, but I started doing readings and healings, and teaching meditation classes. And then I moved into channeling Magdalene and Isis, and now I do channel many different beings. And along the way, I was always, like we talked about, wanting people to learn how to do it themselves, not need me, right? And so I evolved into combining all of that in coaching programs like Consciously Awesome Gnostic Adventures, or more personalized intensive coaching programs. I work a lot with people who are dealing with soulmate and twin flame relationships. I did have a twin flame relationship that helped me along the journey. He died 17 years ago now, in an accident. And so that transition also assisted in the journey. So I haven't really been promoting that, but twin flames from around the world just seem to find me. And I spend quite a bit of time helping people navigate, because if you are in it, if you don't know what it is, it's okay. You don't have to learn about it. But if you're in it and you know you're in it, and it's not the easiest relationship, but it gives a portal to completely transforming your life. So
I love that. I love how you just said that, because a lot of people they search for it. They ask me about it. I'm no expert on it. I'm going to send them Sheila's way for sure. But I get the gist, but I don't feel I have. But yeah, in your own experience, relationships, I think sometimes maybe your most challenging was your greatest teaching experience. Maybe they weren't the teacher, the experience was. It's kind of something what I feel sometimes. And sometimes when people are talking soulmates, they kind of get caught up. That's my soulmate, though. Why can't it work? And it's like the experience was for your souls. I don't know. What do you feel?
Oh,
that.
yeah, exactly. And it really has nothing to do with form of relationship, which we mix up, and romance is not necessarily a part of it. What it is the direct, like if we're talking twin flame, and then I think really close soulmates, it's the direct reflection of ourselves. And so we can't hide. And it is the elevator up to living in oneness. And that's all it's about. It's here to help us evolve. It's not here to create a form.
So I love that. Perfect. And because there's so many people reaching for that in their own personal world, that it can just throw people so much, and they got to come back to the oneness and the one.
Right. And it does throw you. Like I'm not going to negate it. It is a difficult, intense, no matter how evolved you are, and beautiful. That's the thing. It's also one of the most beautiful experiences you'll have.
Well, Sheila, I want to thank you. It's been such an honor, pleasure, and fun having you on the show, and sharing everything. Everyone go to Sheila's website, and it is SheilaApplegate.com, right?
Yeah.
Got her books, her everything that she does, because you're really a gift to consciousness, and the evolution of it. So I thank you. Okay.
Thank you. And it's been a joy to be with you.
I hope our paths cross again at some level. I know it will. I know it.
I'm sure.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us today on Guided Spirit Conversations. I believe I am here next week again. I'm not sure who our guest is, so you might need to go to the website for that. And I just thank you. Go over to my website, innerlightteaching.com. You can see more about my services, my groups, my events, and my books, and some meditations on there too for you. Free download if you put your email address in for just a update on some simple things that I do. So I hope you all go over there. And I just thank you all so much for being here. And I thank Sheila again, and our person behind the scenes there, Miss Bridget, and Marla. Love to you, healing, light, and energy. Thank you.